Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Everybody Needs a Podcast with your host, Mackenzie Rencher. Wow, guys, do I look tired? Thank you for noticing. I was hoping you would. I have had the kids by myself for basically this entire week. Out of 7 days, Darian has only been home for one of those. He got the opportunity to go to New Orleans before I feel like that's kind of T. Like, do I say New Orleans or do I say New Orleans? Like, I never really know. I say it different every single time it comes out of my mouth. So I don't know. You guys tell me how you say it. But he was in New Orleans for the Super Bowl, or I guess the days leading up to it, for some interviews. He was doing some content. He had a few events to go to. And you guys, I feel like a shell of myself. I am obviously fine with like having the kids. It's fun. Like, we have fun together. But 7 days in a row is kind of crazy, because even when he was here, like, he had like a lot of work to do. And so he was as helpful as he could be, but he really was only here for one full day and then he was gone again. And so I am really, really tired. I'm really ready for him to be home and for us to spend some time together, especially because it's about to be Valentine's Day. And I feel like I have not seen him in so long, and just, we need time together. We need to reset. We need to get the kids' schedules back to what they were. But I'm really happy for everything that he was able to do while he was there. He got to interview some of the coolest people. He was on the flight with Italy Choppa, so he interviewed him. And then he interviewed Lil Baby while he was there, Duke Dennis, a bunch of football players that I have no idea. Like, he was telling me like, oh yeah, I interviewed so-and-so today, blah, blah, blah. And apparently that was like somebody that I was supposed to know, but I don't really know a ton of football players like that. Like, unless they're friends of ours, I just don't really keep up like that. And then after he was done there, he went home for a day and then left again the next day to head to New York, because he's actually still currently there. He'll be home tonight, and he had a meeting there. So Lord, keep me strong for the next 6 hours until he's home. He doesn't get home until after the kids go down for down to sleep for the night. I'm telling you guys, I feel psycho right now, like, genuinely, because I just can't. I don't feel like I can think. I haven't had any sleep. I can't form a thought. If you're a parent, you get it. But I also have been struggling with like horrible brain fog. I don't know if you guys have ever struggled with that, but I put on my Instagram story asking people for recommendations, and everyone was like, you definitely need to get your blood work figured out because there's something wrong. And I was like, okay, well, perfect. Everyone was trying to diagnose me with all these thyroid issues. So I am going to a holistic doctor once they return my call. And hopefully, it's actually not a holistic doctor. It's like I don't even want to try to naturopathic doctor, naturopathic. I should have looked that up, but I don't know how to say it, but it's supposedly kind of the same as holistic approach. And I'm hoping that they can figure out what's going on with me, because it's a ton of brain fog. I also I feel like I'm constantly stuffy. And you guys, we have had our house for 1 year and I've already gotten mold checked because I am concerned. Like, why am I always stuffy? Darian at one point was having headaches every day for weeks, and our kids are stuffy a lot. Like, I'm just like, something is going on. So I got a mold test, came back, no mold. Well, guess what? I'm getting another one because I don't believe them. Like, I don't know why I just can't take no for an answer and move on. Like, I feel like I need to find answers of what's going on. And it really could be a few other things. I don't really know how it would be affecting all of us, but I am doing the one where you have your dog come in, and not your dog, a dog come in, and they come sniff all in your house and whatever. And I guess they can smell it through the walls. And I feel like that probably is the most effective or like accurate one, because they tell you on the spot whether you have it or not. My other test, it took like 6 days to come in, and I already was a little skeptical of it. One, if you guys don't know, mold testing is expensive, and I hope you never have to pay for it. Two, they came and like swabbed the air, and I'm like, there's no way that this is an accurate way to see if there's mold in my house. Like, I'm sure there's some science behind it, but I don't know. I was a little skeptical of the whole thing. And then when they came back and they're like, nope, you're good. I was like, I just feel like there's some in my attic and y'all just can't find it or something. So I'll keep you guys updated on my journey to figuring out my health, because I do feel like sometimes I'm going a little bit crazy. I know partially it's because I haven't slept in approximately 2 years, but I also know the way that my brain works and how I'm not able to like form thoughts sometimes is kind of scary. So if you guys have ever gone through this and you guys have any recommendations, I'm taking all of the recommendations, and I'll keep you guys updated on what my blood work says, because that's my biggest concern, is that it comes back and it's like, there you have thyroid issues or you whatever. So I'll keep you guys updated with that. I have not been watching The Bachelor this season, but I've been keeping up with it through clips, and Mackenzie and Brayden, our friends, have been doing, I guess Brayden does like the reactions to it, and they have been cracking me up, and I get clips on my TikTok page all the time for them. And when I say, when I got the clips on my page of him releasing music during this season, I was cracking up. Because at this point, it really is predictable that a lot of times the bachelors and the bachelorettes are usually trying to get famous or be an influencer, which, you know, sometimes I feel like maybe you want to be an influencer and, you know, you hope you find your husband or something. But I feel like it always comes out like so-and-so has always tried to be an influencer. So-and-so has always tried to do this or that. So it cracks me up that Homeboy isn't even trying to hide it. He said, yeah, I'm going to sing in every episode because I'm trying to get famous. And you know what? Y'all can hate on it all you want, but like respect the hustle. Respect the hustle. I'm not saying he's not out here trying to find a wife, but all I'm saying is it's funny to me that he's out here releasing music and like clearly trying to like rap and sing any chance he gets. I don't know. I feel like you can't be mad at him, but like also I just don't think there will ever be another Bachelor as pure as Joey. I haven't watched The Bachelor other than like Pilot Pete's season and Joey's season, because I don't know, there was just something so pure about Joey, and I was so invested on what was going to end up happening, because all the clips were, it was the same thing as this. Like I usually, if they start to come up on my page and I start getting interested, I'll go and watch the last few episodes to see what happens, and that's usually when I try to get invested, because I can't be doing a whole season where he's rooting out these weird girls. Like I can't. They're not weird. Sorry, that was rude. But just like weaving out the girls who are clearly there for the wrong reasons, or like they just put on the show for drama or whatever. I just can't deal. I can't be a part of their journeys. But the last few girls that last, I feel like that's when I start to get invested. But I have not been invested this year. I'm curious what you guys are doing for Valentine's Day this year, because Darian and I are not having a typical Valentine's Day, because really the only people that we let watch our kids are our moms. And my mom's married, his mom has a boo. So obviously they are going to be doing stuff with their significant others all weekend. And usually it's a convenient thing when it's on the weekend, but you know, I want them to not move their plans around so that we can do it on actual Valentine's Day. So we're going to celebrate the day before Valentine's Day. And I was just like, what are we going to do? Because one, it's been hard to plan since he's gone. And I think we're going to end up doing melting pot, but I always like this is one of my favorite times of the year, is seeing what everyone does for Valentine's Day. The other night I had Galentine's, and it was so fun. We swapped presents. We did like $30 gifts, and everyone swapped gifts. I ended up coming home with these really cool cheetah glasses and these actual glasses. If you guys are watching, you'll be able to see it because I'm drinking out of it right now. I made a little lemonade Armra drink situation, but I came home with these and I was like, honestly, slay, because you never know, you know, someone could bring like paper clips and you're like, you just have to accept it. I brought a Prada candle and I was like, I really hope I come home with something cool, and I ended up coming home with 2 good gifts. But anyway, I came home from my Galentine's, and Darian surprised me with asking me to be his Valentine, which I make jokes about it. Like I'll be like, you still need to ask me to be your Valentine and blah, blah, blah. But I don't actually expect it. Like I'm like, it's okay if he did it. But he did. And he put these flowers in a bag And he got me chocolates and wrote me the sweetest letter and asked me to be his Valentine. And so I definitely have to do something special for him tomorrow. I'm going to go run errands. He's not going to hear this before this comes out, because this will come out before or after we celebrate. But I think I'm going to go get his favorite Whole Foods cake, which is a classic move of mine. And I'm trying to think about what else I want to do for him. I want to maybe like go get him something that he's been asking for, but I can't think of anything that is not going to be above the Valentine's Day budget, because Valentine's Day does not have a high budget around these parks. We'll do big gifts for like birthdays and Christmases usually. But other than that, we don't really like splurge a ton, just because we'll like go on trips and stuff. So I don't know. I gotta find something budget friendly that he's been talking about, because it's more so just the fact that I was thinking about him rather than what I actually get for him. But we have to discuss the Super Bowl performance. You guys, Kendrick, the man that you are, he ate down. And I really feel like any take that I've seen where they don't think it was an amazing performance, they didn't understand all of the symbolism that went behind the performance, which, mind you, I still liked the performance, and I didn't even catch half the symbolism until after the fact when I started watching videos on it. But during it, I was like, oh my gosh, like I clearly knew like there was a lot of symbolism with like, hello, the American flag, and when he played Humble, and when the guy came out and was like, this is your Uncle Sam, and blah, blah, blah. Like I knew he was making a statement, and it took me a few watches, but honey, I'm about 17 watches deep into that performance. Like that's what I've been doing 3 times a day. I'm like, I need a Kendrick break and I need to watch this performance again because it's so good. The 40 Acres and a Mule, that entire part where he says, you can't fake influence, 40 Acres and a Mule is bigger than the music. Guys, I've watched that part specifically 58 times. It is just wild. If you don't know what the whole 40 Acres and a Mule thing is, after the Civil War, they promised the freed slaves 40 acres and a mule to help them get on their feet, because clearly after they got freed from being slaves, hello, what were they supposed to do? You'd been slaves for years and years and years. How were you about to make an income for yourself? How are you about to have a house? How are you about to be able to afford to do things and start your life? And so they were like, okay, well, how we're going to make up for it is we're going to give everybody 40 acres and a mule. We'll settle on that. You think they ever got it? No, babe. They never got it. So they had to start from ground zero. So I just feel like him making that statement, one, just getting that many people to Google what that means and being like, oh, wow, that's crazy. And he's basically saying, like, we were never gotten what we promised. Like, this is bigger than the music. Like, I just can't. And even aside from the symbolism, like, the dancers, I've watched multiple times just to watch the dancers. Him bringing Mustard out, I feel weird calling him Mustard because they never say it like that. They're usually like yelling it. But him bringing him out, when I had to sit up for that. When I saw Serena Williams on my screen, when he started teasing that he was going to play Not Like Us multiple times before he played it, I just couldn't. Like, when he finally played it, when I say my house was screaming, like, we had like a few friends over we hosted, and so we had probably 8 or 9 friends over. It could not have been louder in our home. We kept Beckham up because we didn't want to miss the performance because it was during her bedtime. So we're like, we'll just let her keep it up. I mean, she was dancing. We were screaming. It was wild. I really feel like he did what needed to be done. And I feel like the people that didn't appreciate it probably just didn't understand it or just don't care about the symbolism, which, okay. But I don't know. In my opinion, he killed it. I feel like everything he did was so intentional, down to like when he smiled. He smiled like 3 or 4 separate times in the entire performance. And it was after he was like trying to prove a point, like him saying, say Drake, and doing that smile. I just can't. That is one of the performances of a lifetime that I wish I could just go back and watch for the first time. But I don't know. I don't know what y'all's thoughts are. SZA coming out. Did she lip sync? Yes. But like, serve. Okay. She still went in that studio and pre-recorded it. And her vocals, we've heard her sing live before. We know she can sing live. But honestly, I'm not hating on her for it. Like, doing that in front of millions and millions and millions of people, you just want to make sure it's perfect. Plus, she has to remember her dance moves. It's a lot of pressure, okay? So y'all don't be mean to SZA about her lip syncing because, honey, that would be me. That would surely be me. I wanted to do the Mackenzie's Mindsets differently this week. I am still ending with them, but I wanted to make them like segments almost because the two that I chose to do, I feel like are kind of controversial and I want to give my opinion on them. So let's read some of our Mackenzie's Mindsets for this week. If you guys do not know, this is a segment that I do every single week where I give my mindset on your questions or your scenarios, and I just give you what my mindset would be on them. The first Mackenzie's Mindset is: me and my boyfriend are constantly disagreeing about whether or not I'm allowed to go through his phone. He thinks it's an invasion of privacy, and I think I have the right to see anything on there. What are your thoughts? I feel like this is controversial because I usually feel like I see it's very 50-50. I feel like a lot of the times men are protective over their phones and are like, no, I don't think that you should be able to go through it. Like, I have nothing to hide, but I just don't want anyone going through my phone. It's a privacy thing. And then a lot of times I see the girls saying, well, no, I should be able to go through your phone because if you're not hiding anything, it shouldn't be an issue. All I can do and all I'm going to do is give my opinion because I don't necessarily think that there's a right or wrong. I think it matters more what's happening in your heart and soul about it. And what I mean by that is if you really have a gut feeling that you need to go through your man's phone, I think that there are so many layers before even going through his phone that there's an issue. If you cannot trust your partner, that is a big, big, big red flag. And I'm not talking about, oh, I just have anxiety, I've been cheated on before, and so I, have doubts or whatever, because I used to deal with that too. I've been cheated on before, and with Darian, I would be like constantly checking with him, like, is everything okay? Do you have anything to hide? And he's like, well, literally, where is this coming from? I'm like, there's nothing that you have done. There's zero red flags. I just have PTSD, and I'm putting that on you. And I think there's a difference between that and genuinely you have red flags with your partner and that needs to be addressed. And again, this might ruffle some feathers, but I personally would go through my partner's phone. If I did not trust them, I would go through it. And I'm not saying that I would feel good about it, but if I had red flags and I needed almost an excuse or a final answer to get out, I would go through their phone. Now, if you are just being insecure and you have really nothing to worry about, I don't ever see a reason to pick up your man's phone and just go through it. I think with Darian and I gone through his phone before? Yes, but it's not even in like a snooping level. Like, I have looked up things on his phone. I feel like I constantly have Darian's phone in my hand just naturally because like he'll take pictures and I'll send them to myself. I will look someone or something up on his phone, like on his Instagram, or if I don't have my phone by me, I'll text someone off his phone, whatever. So like naturally I have his phone in my hand just a lot throughout the week. And if there ever was a reason, like if I ever wanted to go through Darian's phone, there would be no hesitation from him. I would say, I'm going through your phone. And then that would be that. There probably would be an after conversation of like, is there something that I did that you don't trust me? And that would be a little bit of an issue. And by issue, I just mean like that would be something that would have to be discussed in our marriage because I know he wants and I want a marriage to where we can trust each other. And I can imagine Darian coming to me and telling me that he wanted to go through my phone because he didn't trust me. I would probably cry simply because that would break my heart that he felt like I would ever do anything on my phone that he couldn't see. But yeah, I don't know. It's really case by case. And that's why I really struggle giving an answer to that. And that's why I almost want to make it a segment because I'm like, I don't know. I think I'd have to like sit down with the people and be like, what's the real root issue here? Because it really could be one or the other. Like, you're either being insecure and you have nothing to worry about, and that's something that you have to fix within yourself. And I think for me, I just have to know, like, I know Darian's heart, and he's never hidden anything from me. And I know if I wanted to go through his phone tonight when he got home, there would be no issues, and he would let me. So yeah, if you can't say that about your partner, I think that that's a little red flag alert. So that's my answer on that. I wish you all the best. And if you need to go through that man's phone because you don't trust him, that's not my business. It's not my business. I told you what I would do. The second Mackenzie's mindset is, when you and Darian got married, how did you tackle the conversation of finances? Did you guys put everything together? Do you split? And did you already combine finances before marriage or only after? I also wanted to make this into more of a segment because I think talking about finances is so taboo, and I kind of hate it. Like, I never feel weird with my friends talking about their finances. I never feel weird talking about my finances. I mean, I'm not out here being like, I make blank amount of money, or our friends just, that's just not really what, that doesn't come up in conversation because that's a little strange. But just like talks about finances in general, I'm just like, there's nothing weird about it. I think we should be able to be more open about that. And I love watching TikToks and stuff of people breaking down what they spend a month, or like what their budget is, or whatever. I always love to see stuff like that. So I think it should be less taboo. But to answer your question specifically, whenever Darian and I got engaged, that's when we started talking about what we want to do with our bank accounts. And we did not do that prior because in my opinion, we both are followers of Jesus. So I believe whenever we got married that we became one. And I don't really see the need to be joining your bank accounts with somebody that you're not married to. That feels a little crazy. And if you're not committed enough to be married to them, maybe just keep those things separate until you are. That's just my opinion. That's what we did. When we got married, after I changed my last name and we had the same last name, we joined our bank accounts. And we were so aligned on it that it wasn't even really a conversation. But if you guys are disagreeing on that, I would maybe talk a little bit more in depth on why you guys would want to keep that separately. I know some people that are married that keep their accounts separate, and I don't really have an opinion on that. For me, and what I wanted for our marriage is, I don't want there to be, this is my money, this is your money, where everything is separate, and we have conversations about how we're going to spend our money and whatever. But like, if Darian wants to go buy a pair of shoes, he's not like, Mackenzie, mommy, can I go buy a pair of shoes? Because I'm like, okay, you make your own money. I'm not out here trying to do that. But based on your budget, that might be conversations that you do have to have. And I think that's fine. But Darian and I, we don't do that just because we both, make money. We don't feel the need to have those kind of conversations unless it's a bigger purchase. But I don't view our money as my money, your money. This is what I make. This is what you make, whatever. It's just a blanket statement of, this is what our family has, and this is what we collectively have, and this is how we're collectively going to spend our money. And honestly, it's been amazing. We've never fought about money once in our marriage. And yeah, it's just not an issue for us. And we just try to be one in every area of our life. And that's just one of the areas that we do that with. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. I love reading Mackenzie's mindsets. Like, they are the highlight of my week, and I always put them in my notes, and I'm like, oh, we'll get to that. So I try to get to all of them eventually. So you guys make sure that you guys are listening to them. I do have to go because I just got a notification on my Nanit that there is movement in Kaysen's crib, and I have no child help or anything. And so I need to make sure that my babies are okay. So I'm sorry this was a little bit shorter of an episode, but I hope you guys still enjoyed. You guys can subscribe on YouTube. We're almost to 38,000. I think we're like 60 people away from 38,000. So you guys go subscribe if you have not. And then for Spotify and Apple, you guys can follow along as they're on there as well. It helps me grow. And so thank you so much for doing that. I love you guys. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for every comment and like. and just sending me messages saying that you guys like the podcast. It means so much to me. It really does. So yeah, love you guys, and I'll see you guys next Monday with a new episode of Not Everybody Needs a Podcast.